Welcome to Lost Love Mystery, where every story unravels a secret. So, let's dive into another story. I was married to my ex-wife for almost 2 years before I found out she wasn't as faithful as she claimed. We met at the beach on a summer afternoon and had a fantastic time together. She was there with a group of male and female college friends, all law students taking a break from school. I was also with a few friends, and some of us interacted with her group, hitting it off well. While others went their separate ways after leaving the beach, my wife and I exchanged numbers and kept in touch. Shortly after, we started dating and got married 2 years later. Before we got married, our relationship was not smooth. My wife came from a well-to-do background, and her parents gave us a very tough time. They were against her dating someone like me, warning her that it would be a grave mistake to end up with me. I worked 12 hours a day at 2 different jobs, but couldn't land a well-paying position, no matter how hard I tried. Her parents were a pain, but because we loved each other, we fought to get married, with or without their approval. After months of trying to separate us, they finally stopped and accepted our relationship. With her parents out of the way, I thought our troubles were over, but I had no idea more was coming. 2 months before we married, she confessed that she had cheated on me with one of her classmates. She said it was a mistake, and the guilt had been eating her up. I had noticed her looking sad and depressed during that time, but whenever I asked what was wrong, she insisted she was okay. When she confessed about the affair, I forgave her, believing she wouldn't do it again since she came clean on her own. Now, I regret making that mistake and wish I had been smarter. I thought she was genuinely sorry because she didn't wait for me to find out. It was hard, but because I was young, stupid, and in love, I forgave her, and she promised it would never happen again. We continued with our wedding and were married for almost 2 years. Though we never discussed her affair again, it never left my mind. I remembered her confession every day, but kept silent, trying to let it remain in the past. She had moved on and was trying her best to be the perfect wife, pampering me, treating me like the only man in the world. I don't know if it was her way of apologizing, but despite everything she did, I couldn't shake the feeling that she might still be cheating. It got to the point where I began to feel guilty for holding on to the past, preventing me from enjoying our marriage. It took me a year to forcefully put everything behind me and go with the flow. I knew I hadn't cared for her like I initially planned, so I started making small efforts, like making breakfast in bed and preparing dinner before she got home. My ultimate plan was to do something special for our second anniversary. When the day of our second anniversary arrived, I made all the preparations to sweep her off her feet and make up for the times I hadn't treated her right. I even bought a costly gift, a dress, and accessories to go with it. I left work early and waited at home for her return. When she didn't come home as expected, I called her, and she said her professor had scheduled an impromptu class that she couldn't miss because it came with a score. I was disappointed, but I didn't argue. I expected that since it was our anniversary, she wouldn't want to miss it. However, that feeling of her doing something behind my back crept up again, and I couldn't shake it off this time. To be at peace, I checked her Snapchat location, and it wasn't where she said she was. After checking thrice, I realized she had been lying to me again. I went to the location without wasting time and rang the bell. It was the same apartment where her classmate, whom she had cheated with before, lived. I can't describe how I felt that evening. Heartbroken or disappointed doesn't cover it. Instead of storming in, I had a better idea. I called her proud parents to come over to the apartment so we could surprise her for our anniversary. I knew they would come because they'd do anything for their only child. Not long after, her parents arrived, and we went to the apartment together. When we knocked, her lover answered the door, and her parents saw her walking totally naked inside. Her father yelled her name, and her mother pushed her AP aside and charged in. That evening was disastrous. She didn't know whether to beg me or her parents. I watched as her mother screamed and questioned her, while her father stood there in shock as she covered herself with a sheet. I didn't say much. I only told her it was over between us and that her cheating on me again was my fault. She didn't understand, and I didn't bother explaining. I don't know what happened between her and her parents after I left. She came home later that week and asked if we could talk. When I said no, she packed the things she needed and left. She didn't even press to explain herself. Before she came home, I had already contacted a divorce lawyer, and when the papers were ready, she signed them without hesitation. To this day, I still wonder if she ever loved me or if she was just enjoying the power struggle with her parents. The last time I checked her Facebook, she posted a picture with her AP, captioned with a loving message. I was so angry that I blocked her instantly. After that picture, I stopped caring and focused on my future. I moved on faster than expected, realizing that we have control over our emotions. Feeling miserable because of a cheating spouse should never be an option. I no longer care about her. All I care about now is me and my future. Thanks for watching Lost Love Mystery. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more hidden truths.